Hello everybody. I'll briefly introduce myself. My name is Phil Newman and I am assistant head teacher at Ashby School. And this video is just designed to try and help support parents in terms of supporting their children through the GCSEs. Now, I'm just going to share a PowerPoint screen with you. So if you bear with me a moment. Okay, so what we're going to talk about is a little bit about planning revision, something about how to revise, and then just some general advice for students and parents. I think it's a really good time just to take stock of where students are on their education journey. So if we think about a student's compulsory education, it's been like a 12-hour clock counting down to midnight when their GCSEs will be sat. If we think about it like that, the first 3 hours or the first 3 years are spent in Key Stage 1, learning your ABCs, 1, 2, 3s, being an angel in the nativity, that sort of thing. You then move on to Key Stage 2, still at primary schools. And at just past halfway, that's actually the last time the students sat any external exams, which were their Key Stage 2 SATs. And we basically use that information that they got from their Key Stage 2 SATs to try and make targets for where they should be at the end, at midnight, at 12 o'clock. In our system in Leicestershire, students then move on to middle school, and they don't actually arrive at Ashby School until 10 o'clock. But what time is it now? Well, actually, we're at about a quarter to midnight. And we've just got this little period of revision before all that education, all that we've been building towards, will be judged. Another way of thinking about it is if you think back to the London Olympics, think of it like the marathon, and the students have run all this part of the marathon. There's the marathon course from the London Olympics. Yeah, some of them will have been running like Usain Bolt, some will be running like Mo Farah, a bit slow and steady. But where are we now? Well, I'd say we're at the point where we're inside the stadium, we can see the finish line, and we just got to try and make sure we absolutely maximize the sprint. If you think about it, us parents, us teachers, we're there on the sides cheering them on all the way. We're being their support team, making sure they've got everything they've got. But it's down to the students really now to pin their ears back and give it everything they've got. So they're trying to get the absolute maximum out, dip for the line, and get the very best result, best outcomes they possibly can. Now, this is a very scary time for students. It's very natural that all that puts them under a lot of pressure. And just warning parents, you're likely to see one of three things. Okay, at the top there, you're likely to see that fight response where the student will get argumentative, not necessarily arguing about schoolwork, could be arguing about anything. It's just a natural response to being under pressure and anxiety is they'll start to want to fight about things. Similarly, if we look on the bottom left, the next natural response is flight. And I don't mean students will literally run away. It's just they will do anything to avoid actually sitting down and revising, because sitting down and revising makes it real and it's very scary. I've even heard reports of students being prepared to tidy rooms rather than sit down and revise. And then on the bottom right is the other response you might find, which is students just freeze. They really want to do the best, but they just look at the work in front of them and the scary time, and they just don't know where to start. Now, we're all about how we actually try and get past that. And I think the best way we can do that is if we've got the student focused, the teachers and the school focused, and the home environment focused to work together to support that student, communicating together and trying to make sure that we're all pushing in the right direction is the best way to relieve that stress and pressure. So a few myths about revision, which we just want to go through quickly. So true or false, is it too early to start? So thinking about it, probably not. If we're watching this video anytime after February half term, then yeah, it's probably about time we started revising. Some students will have already done so. Now, do students need regular breaks, or is it best if they carry on? Absolutely, regular breaks. What the experts say is students can focus really well for 20 to 30 minutes, and then they need to take a break, and then they can focus really well again for another 20 to 30 minutes. It's a much more efficient way of working than just trying to work straight through an hour or so. So no one else has started revising yet. This is what students will often say, because they'll have a conversation in the canteen and all the other students will play down how much revision they're doing. You never hear students boasting about how much revision they've done. They'll all ask each other and it'll all be along the lines of, yeah, I'll just do a bit the night before, that sort of thing. Students always play it down. So students really need to ignore what other people are saying. It's their responsibility to do the revision they want to do. Okay, So do students need to focus completely on exams and nothing else? Absolutely not. It's really important that students have some time away from studies to relax. So if they've got hobbies and things that they enjoy doing, please keep them going. We wouldn't expect those to be stopped through exam times, through revision times. Keep them going. That will help them make the exam times and the revision times more focused and more effective. Here's a massive one. I should change this really from I can revise and watch TV to I can revise and be on social media. It's an absolute no-no. So if students want to watch something on TV or they want to be on social media, that's absolutely fine. They can do. And then they need to put the phone down, turn the TV off, go into a different room and revise for half an hour. And then perhaps go back and check the social media for a break. So if students are sat there saying they're revising, but actually every 5 seconds there's something pinging up on social media they're checking, it's really ineffective. Much better to revise completely focused for 20 minutes, half an hour, then check the social media, then go back to revision. Don't try and do both things at once. You're just wasting your time. Okay, and finally, revision is just reading over your notes. Well, absolutely not. I say that's probably what the advice I got when I did my GCSEs many moons ago, but no, there's much more effective ways to revise, which we'll talk a little bit more about in a moment. Okay, so in terms of what the school is doing, here is typical year from 2023, and here is the after school revisions that were going on. So all on Teams. So the point of Teams is, I say, as many students as like can join in to the live sessions. There'll be chats going on live, but equally, if you're unable to make a session, then they are being recorded and all students will be able to access those recordings. Best thing about those recordings, you can pause them or you can rewind them if there's something you didn't quite get. So we're hoping this will make a really effective bank of resources for students to use, either ideally by being on them live so they can interact, but equally if you can't be on it live, then you can watch them, I say, when you get the time, when it's convenient for you. So those are going on and will be going on right in the run up to the exams. Students got the times, they're there. We have now got the Year 11 Revision Hub on our school website. You'll find it, there's a banner right on the homepage to link to it there. Click on that and it will take you to all sorts of things. It'll take you to this video. It'll also take you to lists of when we've got our revision sites, when the team recordings are, that's where they'll be. Also little tips from each subject on how to actually focus on their subject when the exams are, etc. And what type of things you could be looking at. And then also a copy of our revision strategies booklet. Now, this is being handed to all students in form, and we're going through it in form time, just trying to make sure students understand how to prepare for exams and got some really good tips on revision. So I'll be going through that with their form tutors and getting some proper teaching and advice on how to actually revise. The sorts of things that are in there. You can see lots of tips, also lots of templates for things like flashcards and mind maps. So that is also available online, colour version. So if parents want to have a look, get some ideas from there or print out copies. So we've got more templates, then that's a really good thing to do. So I say, we think that's going to be a really effective resource, both taught in school and at home. Now, one thing I really think that parents can help with is in terms of revision planning. Students find this hard. Lots of students either say, right, I'm going to revise every night, all night, 5 hours, and they're just unrealistic. After a couple of days, they don't stick to it and it's in the bin, or they'll underplay things, or they'll look to revise just their favorite subjects they're already good at. So it's something that perhaps parents can get involved with helping students to plan and therefore make a really effective revision plan. In terms of how I go about it then, so there's one of the templates straight off the booklet. I've blocked out when the child is in school, so I'm assuming this is a week when we're actually still in school rather than once we've left. So first thing I would do is I'll block out the regular time for doing the things that you want to do. So this student here obviously likes a lot of physical exercise. He's going to the gym a couple of nights a week. They like a park run on a Saturday. Very much enjoy going to watch the Mighty Villa on a Saturday afternoon. And I've put in a few other things there. That's fine. And it's really important that we make sure we plan those normal things that help us relax and go on. After that, I just add in the school sessions that you might want to attend. So put in those team sessions there. So on those nights, the student will get home, have a bit of relax, maybe a snack, and then go to the team sessions. Then you can block out the rest of the time with all the different subjects. Now, I say, if this was just after February half term, I'd say that would be a very heavy week for revision. However, if we were just before, week before, 2 weeks before the exam, I think that is sort of about the amount we'd be expecting students to do to build up towards that. But certainly we can't work at that intensity for a long period of time. Now, I often get asked the question, how much revision should students be doing? And I can't give the same answer for everyone because it very much depends on the student themselves. And I say this is something where parents can help you know what's a lot of work for your child, and really we want to be trying to get the best out of them without pushing them too hard so that they're getting overly stressed. So I say I can't give a straight answer, but I would consider, I say, this to be a good amount of revision for the last couple of weeks just before the exams start. I think it would be rather a lot for the other side of Easter. So somewhere between the two, and depending on what your child is like. But if you look at this example, there's absolutely tons of revision in there. There's 23 hours of actual subject revision, 3 hours spent per subject. So that's a full range of subjects there, 3 after school sessions. But we're taking Friday night off. We've got family time in there. We've got social time. We've got relaxation time. We've got exercise. And I'm saying this is a student who doesn't work well late at night. So they're finishing at 8 o'clock so they can get a good night's sleep. So it's that sort of balance that we're looking for. Yeah, lots of planned revision time in there, focused, but then absolutely making sure we got those planned times after that. So how can we revise? Okay, definitely not just by writing things out or just by reading things. Here's some tips then. So how to revise? Learning by rote. In every subject, there will be a few facts you've just got to learn. Now, if we go back to primary school and how you learnt your spellings, it was say it out loud, cover it, or write it. Okay, so if there's things you just got to learn, just go through that process. Mnemonics can really help here. So I often say to parents, you can remember Richard of York gave battle in vain. So that comes off the tongue quite easily, even for some people like myself who've been out of school for a long time. It really helps things stick. So that Richard of York gave battle in vain is the colours of the rainbow. So lots of people remember that. So if you can turn something into a mnemonic, like this example here, there's no way I'd ever remember those geological periods. However, I probably can remember that camels often sit down carefully, perhaps their joints creak, especially if I draw a picture of it next to it. So that sort of thing can really help. Another thing to do is summarizing information. Now there's a passage there all about the Earth's atmosphere. Now I think I could read that through 3 or 4 times and I probably wouldn't remember it. However, if instead of doing that, saying, oh, there's 500 words there, can I summarize it in 200 words? As I read it through, I'm going to write down the really important bullet points. Once I've got my 200 word summary, well, actually, can I get that down to 50 keywords that are absolutely crucial? By the time you've done that, you will know everything in that passage really, really well, because you'll have thought about it, thought about what the important things are. So don't just read things through. If you can summarize them, get your highlighter out, highlight bits, copy them across, think what's really important. That's how it will stick in your brain. Even better than that, could you turn it into a diagram? So that passage there, all that information is in that diagram there. So if you can turn words into pictures, again, your brain's processing the information, it will stick. Mind maps are a really good idea. Again, it's a case of taking information and starting to think about the links. Okay, so there's one of the Simpsons. Making those links. As you're doing it, your brain's both making those links and you're producing a useful memory jog. Some students tell me they've sat in an exam and they've closed their eyes and they can visualize their mind map, and that's jogged their memory. They can remember what was in the corner. Okay, and once you've made it, you've got a great mind map. You can stick it somewhere really prominent next to your bed, so you wake up in the morning and you can see your physics mind map. What a great way to wake up every morning. Now, there are loads and loads of online resources. Some I'd really recommend. So Sam Learning, the students use that a lot in science to do 2 bits of homework, but actually Sam Learning exercises for all your subjects. Okay, so not just science, loads on there. BBC Bite Size, great resource online, lots of different coding where there's videos, there's bits of text, and then there's exercises just to make sure it's going in. And I say, designed to make the students have to think and process the information, because that's what makes it stick. So loads of other things there that are worth looking at. So if your child is someone who works really well online, be well worth considering those. However, the number one most important thing we can do to improve exam performance is practice questions. Now, there'll be loads given out in school. There'll be lots and lots of practice going on in school because the teachers know this is the most effective thing to do. But equally, there's nothing to stop students and parents going online, finding past exam papers, finding past questions, and having a go. They're very easy to find, easy to download past exams and the mark schemes. Now, the great thing to do there, though, is if you have a look, if you find you get a question wrong, then that'll push you towards where you need to do some revision. Perhaps that's where you need to make some flashcards. Perhaps that's where you need to do a mind map. So it's a really, really effective thing to do. Okay, finally then, a few top tips for students. How are they going to help themselves through this period? Well, first of all, maximizing attendance. We're getting down to double digits, and it won't be long before it's single digits of number of days left in school. So if in doubt over illness, you're not sure whether you should come in, just get to school. It's really, really the most effective thing you can do. And then be punctual to lessons. As you walk around school this time of year, lots of the lesson starters are all about exam tips, or we'll have a go at an exam question. So make sure you're getting the maximum out of that by getting to lessons on time. Attend as many of those revision sessions as you can. The teachers think it's important. So I say, I'd just take that and do as many as you possibly can. And then do some revision at home. Keyword here, reasonable. Make yourself a reasonable program so that you know you're going to be able to stick to it. Okay. If you make yourself an unreasonable program, you won't. So be ambitious for yourself. Make sure you're working as hard as you can, but make sure it's reasonable. And then final thing to say, one of our key character values is taking responsibility for your own success. So it's not down to your friends, not down to anyone else, your parents, your teachers. We can cheer you on. We can provide you with everything you can, but you've got to do it for yourself. We can't do it for you. So parents, in terms of what parents can do, right, this is one I struggle with, is just try to be overwhelmingly positive. Don't get involved in the exam stress. I mean, I often find if my daughter comes home and says, oh, I've got an exam next week, I've got not enough time to revise, I'll go, what do you mean you've got an exam next week? Why haven't we been revising? I say, that's just not helpful. That will just increase the anxiety. So try and be overwhelmingly positive. It will be all right. And if we do the right things, we'll get good outcomes. So helping your child get in the right frame of mind is a really big thing you can do. So we talked a little bit about at the start about what reactions you're likely to see to this stress. So if you can support them through that, that's a massive help that you can do. As said before, I think helping the revision plan is a really good thing you can do. Students struggle with it, so a bit of adult parental advice is a really good thing that can help there. If you can provide a quiet, calm environment somewhere where the child can revise, then that is ideal. We do have the library at school where students are very welcome to come in study leave or stay after school, but somewhere at home that's nice and quiet and calm would be ideal. It's not the time for a diet. So plenty of food and drink, treats and rewards. I think if the students worked hard, done 3 or 4 hours revision in a night, then they deserve some sort of treat, some sort of reward. So anything you can do to do that sort of motivation and keep the spirits up is really good. And then provide resources. So revision guides, ideal, all the stationery, exam pack, etc., etc. And buy them a set of highlighters. If I get a set of highlighters, I generally can't wait to use it and get on with some work. So those little things just give a little boost. And the last thing I just want to say, both for students and parents, is you are our main focus now. We really want to support you, do everything we can. So if you need any support or advice, please don't hesitate to get in touch either with the subject teachers or with the central team. We are very much here to try and support you through this time. Okay, so that is all I wanted to say. But I say, just reiterate that plan, that if you'd like to get in touch, you will be very, very welcome. Okay, thank you.